You, in these early years of Terlton, do you remember any of the men from Terlton that went to serve in World War One?
Yeah, I know every one of them.
So there were quite a few then that went off to
Quite
that.
a few. I had a brother in it. I had my wife, my sister's husband.
I see.
He spent 11 months over in France.
So he was in the trench warfare of World War One. Did all the boys make it home okay? Did you know?
From Terlton, I don't remember any of them got killed over there. I don't think so. I think all of them did.
I'm glad they made it home. Was a general consensus around Terlton that the war was justified to a point?
World War One and World War Two, in our minds, everybody's, was both of them were justified wars. And I still believe that way.
And I believe most of the people the same way, I'm sure.
Yeah. All the women in town knit sweaters for the soldier boys, because the government didn't have enough to put clothes on them. They didn't have guns. I know that when the war broke out, we sent soldiers over to France that were neither fully clothed or didn't have a gun. They sent them over with wooden sticks to drill with guns. French had to furnish them guns. And all the families in town had guns. And you wonder why this gun law is in the Constitution now that they're fussing about.
Yeah.
First thing they wanted to do, there's a group of them saying in the Constitution, is that there'll be no laws made that restrict the use or control the use of guns to maintain guns. Well, that's in the Constitution. Well, everybody had a gun, and they had them. Not only had them, they knew how to use them.
Yes.
As I said before, I was raised up hunting and fishing, and a gun was almost as natural with me as a pencil was. I made my living with a pencil. But so after they got a bunch of them over, the French couldn't furnish our first soldiers we sent over with enough guns, and a lot of the people, the government asked that we donate guns. I know that Dad gave my sister's pistol and 2 rifles sent over for Baxter. That's how hard up we were for guns, and that's what our soldiers had, and everybody turned loose. They shipped them out, gave them to the government, donated them to the government. So don't get any idea that doing away with maintaining guns is a fanatic's idea. A bunch of the old timers got burnt that way once before, and then when World War II broke out, we ran into the same thing. I don't know if you knew that or not.
No, I didn't. In fact, I didn't know that in the First World War. I'm glad you brought that out.
We had soldiers in the South Pacific, and they shipped back and said we had guns, but those people in the South Pacific, guns were not as handy, and they needed knives, and all the high schools made knives in their workshops. I've got a bunch of them out here that I made up, and we shipped them to the South Pacific, to the ones we knew, and they were using our soldiers in the South Pacific fighting the Japanese were using, a lot of them were carrying knives that had been made at home. by their brothers and sisters. We were,
Wish they-
we were ill prepared for that war too.
Well, I knew we was. I wish they would include things like that in history books where people could
They
more
never
understand.
write, they never write the real thing in history.
They don't, do they?
They just hit the high spots.
It would be so much simpler to understand the need for certain things if it were explained in those
I
terms.
think I sent Bob 6 knives.
And the ladies and people made clothes then too, didn't they? Knitted for the soldiers.
I don't remember any in World War II. I know my mother spent months on end knitting sweaters and socks for World
Oh,
War I.
that's great.
In fact, the matter in the classes in school, I was around the 4th, 5th grade at that time, and the kids in school learned to knit. I knit sweaters, boys and all. A lot of time we had a recreation creative class where we would knit sweaters to usually our mothers would go and rip some of them out, redo them so that they were fit to use.
Yes.
The sweaters they knit were tight without the arms, just the sheet. Usually the government furnished the yarn, all wool, and we'd knit and send them back, and caps. These what we call stocking caps were World War I vintage. I mean, that's when they started.
Oh, that's when they got.
The women made the caps. Soldiers started wearing helmets for the first time, but they were too cold in that area over there. They could get these stocking caps put under their helmet. And gloves, socks, and sweater.
Now, do you remember when the war was over in Germany?
Oh,
In
you
France?
better bet it.
It was a happy day for Terlton and the United States too, for the world, I mean.
Yeah. 11 o'clock,
11th month.
November the 11th. Yep. We first